Ramana Maharshi, Natal to Navamsha analysis with Moon as Atmakaraka. Ascendant Virgo to Virgo. Ramana Maharshi's life path was marked by the practicality, discipline and service-oriented nature of Virgo in both his natal and Navamsha charts. Virgo Ascendant in both indicates a life focused on personal refinement, humility and dedication to serving others. His meticulous and introspective nature helped him develop a deep spiritual understanding and devotion to truth. Virgo's energy emphasized his role as a spiritual guide who approached life with precision and purity. His challenge was to balance the intellectual focus of Virgo with the spiritual surrender and detachment he embodied later in life. Sun, Sagittarius, 4th house, to Leo, 12th house. The Sun in Sagittarius in the 4th house in his natal chart showed that Ramana Maharshi had a deep connection to philosophy, higher wisdom, and spiritual understanding within the realm of his home and inner life. He sought knowledge and truth through introspection. In Navamsha, the Sun moved to Leo in the 12th house, where his leadership and sense of self-expression became more focused on spiritual isolation, solitude, and surrender to higher truths. His challenge was to channel the expansive, philosophical energy of Sagittarius and the regal, expressive energy of Leo into a life of humility, spiritual retreat, and profound inner discovery. Moon, Gemini, 10th house to Gemini, 10th house. As the Atmakaraka, the moon in Gemini in both the natal and Navamsha charts indicated that Ramana Maharshi's soul journey was closely tied to communication, intellectual exploration, and emotional understanding. In Gemini, the moon reflects a need for intellectual curiosity and interaction with others, which he transformed into guiding his followers through profound yet simple teachings. His public life was built on his ability to connect with others, often through minimal words but with deep emotional and spiritual impact. The moon in the 10th house in both charts shows that his soul's purpose involved public service and sharing his wisdom with the world. His challenge was to balance the mental energy of Gemini with the emotional depth required for his role as a spiritual leader, ensuring that his teachings touched the intellect as well as the heart. Saturn, Pisces 7th house, to Sagittarius, 4th house. Saturn in Pisces in the 7th house in his natal chart indicated a disciplined, structured approach to relationships, with an emphasis on spiritual and emotional connections. Ramana Maharshi likely experienced karmic lessons in the realm of partnerships, learning the importance of sacrifice, detachment, and compassion. In Navamsha, Saturn moved to Sagittarius in the 4th house, where his focus shifted to creating a spiritual foundation rooted in philosophical truth and wisdom. His challenge was to balance the mystical, compassionate energy of Pisces with the expansive, philosophical energy of Sagittarius in building a stable spiritual environment. Jupiter, Aquarius, 6th house, to Aquarius, 6th house. Jupiter in Aquarius in the 6th house in both his natal and Navamsha charts emphasized growth through service, humanitarian efforts, and intellectual exploration. Ramana Maharshi's teachings focused on equality, freedom from dogma, and innovative spiritual approaches, all of which reflect Jupiter's placement in Aquarius. His role as a teacher and guide was shaped by his desire to serve humanity selflessly. His challenge was to ensure that his progressive spiritual teachings remained grounded in practicality and discipline. Mars, Aries, 8th house to Libra, 2nd house. Mars in Aries in the 8th house in his natal chart indicated a strong will and drive for transformation and spiritual awakening. Ramana Maharshi likely underwent deep inner struggles that led to his spiritual awakening, with Mars driving his pursuit of self-realization. In Navamsha, Mars moved to Libra in the 2nd house, where his energy was channeled into creating balance and harmony in the material and spiritual realms. His challenge was to balance the intense transformative energy of Mars with the need for peace and harmony in his teachings and relationships. Mercury, Scorpio, 3rd house to Capricorn, 5th house. Mercury in Scorpio in the 3rd house in the natal chart indicated a sharp, investigative mind with a deep interest in understanding the mysteries of life and death. Ramana Maharshi's communication style was likely intense, probing, and focused on uncovering hidden truths. In Navamsha, Mercury moved to Capricorn in the 5th house, suggesting that his intellectual focus later in life shifted towards structured teaching, discipline, and creative expression in the realm of spirituality. His challenge was to balance the intense, transformative energy of Scorpio with the structured, disciplined energy of Capricorn. Venus Scorpio 3rd house to Cancer 11th house. Venus in Scorpio in the 3rd house in his natal chart indicated a passionate and intense approach to relationships, values, and communication. Ramana Maharshi may have had a deep connection to his inner circle and placed great value on spiritual relationships and teachings. In Navamsha, Venus moved to Cancer in the 11th house, where his focus shifted to nurturing larger groups of followers and building a spiritual community. His challenge was to balance the emotional sensitivity of Venus in Cancer with the intense transformative energy of Venus in Scorpio. Rahu, Sagittarius, 4th house to Scorpio 3rd house. Rahu in Sagittarius in the 4th house indicated a desire for spiritual and philosophical exploration in the realm of his home and personal life. Ramana Maharshi sought to find higher meaning and truth through his inner world and personal experiences. In Navamsha, Rahu moved to Scorpio in the 3rd house, where his focus shifted to deep transformative communication and intellectual exploration. His challenge was to channel the expansive philosophical energy of Sagittarius into the more intense, probing energy of Scorpio, particularly in his teachings. Ketu, Gemini, 10th house to Taurus, 9th house. Ketu in Gemini in the 10th house in the natal chart suggested a detachment from worldly success and public recognition, as Ramana Maharshi was more focused on intellectual and spiritual pursuits. In Navamsha, Ketu moved to Taurus in the 9th house, where his focus shifted to spiritual growth and higher wisdom, with a sense of detachment from material values. His challenge was to balance his detachment from the material world with his role as a spiritual teacher and guide. Moon as Atmakaraka. With the moon as Atmakaraka, Ramana Maharshi's life was deeply influenced by emotional understanding, nurturing, and communication. The moon's placement in Gemini in both his natal and Navamsha charts highlighted his soul's purpose of communicating wisdom, guiding others, and offering emotional support through his teachings. His intellectual curiosity and desire to connect with others on an emotional and spiritual level were central to his role as a spiritual leader. The moon's influence made him approachable, compassionate, and able to convey deep spiritual truths in a way that resonated with the minds and hearts of his followers. His challenge was to integrate the mental energy of Gemini with the emotional depth of the moon, ensuring that his teachings were both intellectually stimulating and emotionally transformative.